Hi there and welcome to week 2 of the British Hen Welfare Trust homeschooling activities. We hope you enjoyed learning lots about hens in the last activity and we hope you'll enjoy this day's session as well. Okay, so today's session is called How a Caged Hen Feels. So as you might have guessed, we're going to look a little bit more about how animals feel and also a little bit about how you are feeling at this really strange time at the moment. Okay, so we're going to start with an egg box. Okay, when you go and buy these from the shop, you will always see something on the label, okay, and it will tell you a little bit about where your eggs have come from. So we're going to learn a little bit more about that next week. But if you look on here, we've got 6 fresh free-range eggs, okay? So we're going to learn what free range means, and also we're going to learn a little bit more about the other farming systems that hens come from in this country, okay? Now, in the UK, there are 4 different types of farming systems that egg-laying hens can live on. Those are enriched cage, barn, free range, and organic. Okay, so we're going to learn a little bit about what those mean. We're going to look at the 2 most popular ways that egg-laying hens are farmed in the UK. Okay, so let's start off with before 2012, there were things called battery cages, and these were really small cages that hens lived in. And each hen had about the size of an A4 piece of paper to live in, okay? And if we get Hetty the hen here, you can see it's not a very big space for her at all. She can't even flap her wings, okay? And this is about the size of an egg-laying hen, a Warren hybrid, they're called, okay? Now, enriched cages were brought in to mean that hens had a bit more space and were looked after much better, okay? And things have improved. They've now got places to scratch and places to perch, and they've now got about 750 centimetres squared each to live in, okay? That's really difficult to visualise, and if you actually have some of that special graph paper with centimetre squares on, you were to fill in 750 of those, that's how much space a hen would have. Or another way is by using everyday objects in your home. So let's get that trusty A4 piece of paper back again. So they've got this much space, and now in an enriched cage they have this much extra space, so about the size of your average postcard. Okay, so if we get Hetty back, you can see it's still not a huge amount of space, okay? She still really can't flap her wings, but it is an improvement. And as I said, those hens on those enriched cage farms, they can also do lots of other things now, like pecking and scratching, which they didn't used to be able to do in the battery cages, okay? But these hens, they live in those cages that are about the size of a double mattress with 60 to 80 other hens for a year and a half, so it's a really long time. If you think about yourselves and what we've been doing during lockdown, we've been in our houses and in our homes across the UK for about kind of 2.5 months, nearly 3 months now. So that is much less than a caged hen who will live there for 18 months. Okay, so just think about how they might feel living with all those other hens, not allowed to see the sunlight, never allowed outside, and also living with all those other hens. I'm sure you've had a few arguments with your parents and your siblings over the past few weeks, because it can be difficult living so close to each other all the time, and we've been really lucky because we've been able to go outside. Another form of farm is the free range farm. So you saw that on the egg box that I showed you here. So these eggs come from a free range farm. Now what that means, if you haven't heard of that before, is that those hens get to spend the night in a barn, nice and safe from predators, and during the daytime, whenever it's light outside, they get to go outside if they would like to. So if they choose to go outside, they can scratch around, they can feel the sunshine on their backs, feel the wind, scratch for bugs, and they can interact with the hens they want to, but also if they're having a little argument with another hen, they have the space to get away as well. So it's really important for those hens to be able to care for themselves as well, to have that space. Okay, I'm sure there's lots of people that you'd like to spend time with in the playground and interact with, whereas the hens, they also have their own groups of friends as well. So it's a nicer environment for them to live in. Okay, so again, have a think. If you were to be a hen, which would you rather live in? Would you rather live in a cage for a year and a half, or would you like the opportunity to go outside whenever you want? I know which I would prefer, and I'm sure you do too. Okay, so what we're going to do today is we're going to think about this a little bit more. We're going to think about how you felt on lockdown, okay, because as I said, it's been a really strange time, and you've been inside for a few months now, only being able to go outside once a day really, to get a little bit of exercise. So what you're going to do on the worksheet you can download from our website is you're going to tell us how you have felt, okay? Use the speech bubble on the worksheet to draw or write how you have been feeling, okay? So you can do this in the most creative way you want. You can colour it in, you can draw and write if you'd like to, okay? And if you're really passionate about this, if you think that you would like to tell more people about the way that hens are farmed in the UK, you can come up with a poster, or you can do a mind map of how you can help hens, okay? All right, maybe it's that you can buy free range eggs, or you can rehome some of the hens yourselves if you've got a bit of space in your garden. Because when we buy these boxes of eggs, actually we're telling the farmers what we would like, okay? If you buy a box of eggs that says from caged hens on it, you're telling the farmer, yes please, I would like my hens to live in a cage. And if, like these ones, you buy a box of eggs that have free range on the front, you're telling the farmer, oh yes please, I would like my hens to live outside and be free range, okay? So when you are buying those eggs, you're making that choice, okay? And I know not everyone can afford free range eggs because they are more expensive, and that's okay, but if you can afford them, you can actually make that choice and think about how the hens are kept and their welfare, okay? So again, if you're really, really passionate about this, another thing you could try doing is you could set out a small space on the floor or in the garden, maybe about 50 centimetres by 50 centimetres, and time how long you can stay in there, okay? It can be a little challenge. You can see who beats you out of your siblings or your parents and send the times in to us, and we can see who stays in that space for the longest without getting bored, okay? I'm sure some of you can stay in there for a really long time, but I can almost guarantee it won't be 18 months like those hens. Okay, so good luck. Tune in next week. Send us your photos, send us how you're feeling and your thoughts as well. And we'll see you next week for some more hentastic activities. Thank you.